Karen. To me, the big picture is this was such a cap off on really what has been the most surreal 3 weeks in American politics that I can remember, starting with that debate, of course, the assassination attempt this week, and then the speech culminating with this. And it really just typifies what many have said before of Trump being the ultimate comeback kid. And I just think back to, when he came down those golden escalators and really was ridiculed at the time as an unserious candidate, then turned into somebody that was really unacceptable in the wake of 2020 and January 6th and just the way all that framing happened and the fallout from there to now. I mean, what a story it is. And everybody from some of the cultural figures that were speaking there to other people, 50 Cent, to Wall Street titans, Silicon Valley titans, other people that he mentioned in that speech that are supporting him right now is incredible. And I think the speech sort of just talked about that. The tone was very uplifting and positive and uniting. Of course, it wouldn't be a Trump speech without some of that combative tone, as you mentioned as well. But he didn't really have to go into the details of policy. He just sort of had to point to his first term and remind everybody of what life was like then versus now. And I think that's sort of the approach he took, and I think it worked for him.
Barbara Heinbach, he only mentioned Joe Biden once. His advisors and the RNC were briefing that he wouldn't mention him at all. He was tempted into mentioning him just once. But partly that reflects the chaos on the other side of the aisle right now, as we just don't know who is going to be the candidate for the Democratic Party. So while you've got that show of unity there underway in Milwaukee, on the other side, it remains a great deal of uncertainty, Barbara.
That's exactly right. There's so much that's unknown about the other side that Trump was very careful in not tap dancing around it. But one of my big takeaways on this, Kieran, is that Trump had a history and a record that he could stand on when he was president. We have yet to hear Biden ever talk about his record, which is one reason why the Democrats continue to attack Donald Trump. And the other thing that I remembered was I was on another network about 8 years ago when Trump won, and I was the only one that had anything positive to say about Donald Trump. And at the end, the moderator asked me, he said, "Barbara, what can we expect from this man that almost no one expected would ever be president of the USA?" And I had 4 words to that answer: America, go to work. And I think what we heard today is coming from that same vanishing point. He hit on the borders, he hit on crime, and he hit on a unity of going forward. And I think and then, of course, bringing in J.D. Vance is another indication of how serious he is about the business of getting the country back up and going, getting our energy going, inflation down and all. And a comment about who the other side will be, because it does seem as though with Biden having said that he would only step down if God told him to, he softened that. Now he's saying if his doctors or if it was for something medical. So we have to believe, or at least I do, that this is somewhat of a setup, that after having said that it would take a medical problem and suddenly he has COVID. I'm sorry that the president does. I hope he gets some rest. In fact, I hope he gets a lot of rest. But at least it will give him a little bit of dignity to be able to walk off the stage instead of crawling off.
Yeah.
And I guess, we'll be talking about what the Democrats might do going forward.